You hear these terms all the time, right? National digital currencies, tokenized assets. And look, they're not just buzzwords anymore. They're really being sold as this massive revolution in how we handle our money. We're talking more efficiency, better access, a whole new era of finance. But let's really get into this, because what if that shiny new promise has a hidden dark side?
And that right there, that's the big question we're going to dig into today. We're going to explore a really compelling argument that these brand new high-tech financial tools, they could just be a new way to run some very, very old plays. So the real mystery is, how would that even work? And more importantly, what could it mean for you and your money?
To figure out what might be coming tomorrow, sometimes you've got to look back at what happened yesterday. And it turns out, especially when you're talking about money and power, history has a pretty clear, pretty consistent pattern. And right now, some experts are basically shouting from the rooftops, telling us we need to pay very close attention.
And what's so wild is just how consistent it is. I mean, think about it. For over 100 years, whenever governments get into a tight spot with their budgets, they seem to reach for the same old playbook. Step 1, print more money, which, as you know, just eats away at the value of regular people's savings. Step 2, mess with the bond markets to make things work in their favor. The argument here is that this isn't just some dusty old history lesson. It's a recurring pattern of behavior, which leads to the million-dollar question. Are these new digital tools just the next page in that same old playbook?
All right, so let's get concrete. Let's look at the first modern example of how this could play out. Picture this. A government launches its very own national digital currency. On the surface, it's going to sound amazing, right? Super innovative, maybe even a little patriotic. But some analysts are looking at this and they don't see innovation. They see the potential for a very, very carefully laid trap.
So here's how that trap could actually be sprung, step by step. First up, you've got the lure. The government rolls out this new digital currency. And get this, it's offering fantastic interest rates, way better than you could ever get at a normal bank. Then comes step 2, the attract phase. People see those rates and they rush to invest. Capital just floods into this new system. And then, bam, step 3, control. Once your money is locked in, the government changes the rules. Suddenly, transactions are blocked, your funds are frozen, and all the escape hatches have been sealed shut.
And look, I want to be really clear here. The potential severity of a scenario like that, it just can't be overstated. This isn't me just speculating. This is a direct quote from an analysis of this exact possibility. The core idea is that the very trust that people naturally place in their own government could be turned around and used as a weapon against them, on a scale we've literally never seen before.
Okay, but that kind of heavy-handed control isn't the only thing people are worried about. There's another strategy, a much more subtle one, that ties into this massive trend you're probably hearing about, tokenizing assets. And we're going to talk specifically about tokenizing U.S. government debt.
Now, to really get the why behind this, you have to start with one absolutely staggering number. We're talking about the U.S. national debt. It's over $30 trillion. I mean, try to even wrap your head around that number. It's almost impossible. And managing a debt that big, constantly finding people who are willing to buy it, is a huge, never-ending challenge.
So the big problem becomes, how on earth do you keep selling all of that debt? Let's face it, traditional bonds, they're starting to feel a little old-fashioned, maybe a bit complicated for a new generation of investors. But what if you just gave it a makeover? What if you took that exact same old debt, put it in a shiny new wrapper, stuck it on the blockchain, and called it a tokenized bond? All of a sudden, it looks modern, it looks high-tech, it looks super accessible. Now you can sell it in tiny little pieces to basically anyone on the planet with a crypto wallet, and a lot of those people might not fully grasp the real risk they're taking on.
And when you look at it that way, you're left with a pretty stark conclusion. In this scenario, tokenization isn't really about innovation for the good of the public. It's just a really clever new tool for the world's biggest debtor to offload its own risk onto the shoulders of everyday people all across the globe. So whether we're talking about a national crypto trap or just putting old debt in a new digital disguise, the potential endgame, according to this analysis, is exactly the same. And it's not just about people losing money, it's about losing something way more important. The one thing that actually holds our entire financial system together. And that thing is trust, right? Trust is the absolute bedrock of all finance. And if governments start using these incredibly powerful new technologies just for a quick short-term win, it could poison the well for everybody. The public could become super skeptical, not just about these specific government projects, but about all financial innovation. Think about it. Truly legitimate projects, the ones that could actually do a lot of good, might just fail because nobody trusts the system anymore. It's like a domino effect that could shatter public confidence for an entire generation. Okay, so if the stakes are really that high, it begs the question, how do you protect yourself in a world like this? Well, the clearest answer isn't some complex investment strategy. It's much simpler. It's about adopting a certain mindset.
And that mindset, in a word, is vigilance. It just means that every single time you see a new financial product, a new digital currency, a new token, you have to train yourself to ask more than just, what is this? You have to ask the most important question of all, why does this exist? Seriously, what problem is it really solving, and who is it solving it for? Is it for you, the person using it, or is it actually for the giant institution that created it? Getting to the bottom of that motive, well, that's everything. Which really leaves all of us with one final, crucial question to think about. As the lines between technology, money, and government power get blurrier and blurrier, the biggest challenge moving forward isn't going to be just picking the right investments. No, it's going to be figuring out who and what is actually worthy of your trust. And that right there is the real puzzle we all need to solve.